Hi Taurus, welcome to your tarot card reading for the month of August. Today I'll be using the Robin Wood Tarot. Same as last month. Taurus, let's see what's coming up for you this month. Taurus, any messages for Taurus for the month of August? The Lovers, that's nice. All right, we'll just pull a few cards and then we'll start talking through them. Taurus. Ooh, the Seven of Swords. Ooh, we don't like that with the Lovers. Taurus. The Hermit. Okay. Let's talk through these first, and then we'll pull a few more. So far, you've got the Lovers, the Seven of Swords, and the Hermit. So somebody wants to go their own way. Somebody either wants to work alone, they want to work at nighttime, they want to go in disguise. Excuse me. The Lovers, as you see, they are naked in all their glory and they're in paradise. They feel comfortable, they're at ease, they're safe, but they are, in the middle of the day with their skin exposed. Conversely, when we look at the Seven of Swords with the Hermit, both of these figures are cloaked, and traditionally these cards, in the traditional tarot system, these cards indicate moving at night, wearing a disguise, or speaking in code, or keeping your notes in code so that other people cannot intrude and decipher what you're saying or steal your ideas. So you want to protect your ideas this month by using a code or a disguise or something like that. Now, I want to be clear, I'm not getting an emphasis on locking something up, because when I said code, I was starting to picture a padlock or like a keypad, but we would get the Hierophant if that were the case. So this is more about knowledge. It's not necessarily a physical space. It could be, but it's not. It's more of your ideas, your intentions, your research, everything that you've worked for, that you've gathered. For some of you, this is really noticeable in a partnership. This could be a love relationship, it could be a business partnership, but anywhere in your life where there's a theme of partnership, there is a severing of that partnership. I'm not sure if it's long-term. I'm not sure if it's short-term yet. But somebody needs a change of scenery. Somebody needs to go their own way. They might be doing research for how to grow their business or how to make things, just do things differently. We've been used to the same structure. Let's do things differently. Seven of Swords wants to think creatively, to work independently or outside of the existing system. Working under the radar, going undetected. He's stealing swords from the enemy's camp, so he is taking weapons from, he's outsmarting the enemy. But because we talked about the Lovers being so visible, and we're looking at the Hermit at the top of the mountain, I'm wondering if this person, the Seven of Swords, gets caught. Because I feel like the Hermit is kind of looking down over him. And I'm wondering if this person is actually dressing up, pretending to be the Hermit. The Hermit is someone you respect, someone who's knowledgeable, kind, just kind of does things behind the scenes, works, dedicated to their work, dedicated to their service to society. And so it's not really someone you'd expect to carry out this type of action And so I'm wondering if that's part of the deceit, is this figure in the Seven of Swords is purposely trying to dress like the Hermit to disguise himself or themselves, look like this person, set the blame on someone else. But there is an obvious difference between the two. So even if this person, I feel like this person might be skipping a step. They're just so eager to assert themselves or to act independently or, I don't know, break away that it feels like this person was previously so smart, rather calculated, would take time to plan things and actually got some kind of joy or pleasure out of the planning process. The research phase, let's call it, the reconnaissance. This could be the same person if you're doing some reconnaissance or you're wanting to just go your own way, leave a relationship or travel by yourself or split off from a business partnership and go your own way. That could absolutely be the case. But for those situations where the Seven of Swords is a different person, yeah, they usually are a planner, they're structured, but something about this, they just, I don't know, those two swords behind, I feel like there's proof of something. And I have to say that I'm getting a lot this month for all of the signs, so it's collective, so I just want to mention this. There's an energy of things being found out and not being able to really lie about it. We do have Lionsgate, we have that full moon, so there's quite a strong window, especially in the first week and a half of August. Pretty strong window, pretty strong theme of illumination. So that's one aspect. Others will get that illumination during that time, during, Lionsgate, August 8th, and the full moon on the 9th. And then they realize, I do need to go my own way. I do need to act independently. I mean, it could be something simple as your partner is traveling for work, or you want to travel alone. It's just this like suddenly you're on your own and you're used to being with someone else all the time. Your business partner, kind of your favorite coworker, goes on a holiday. I don't know. There's just this feeling of like, okay, I'm by myself. But for others of you, it's just so much about authenticity and connecting to yourself. Some of you, the lovers is just you. It's aspects of the self. Two halves of you. Who you are at night, who you are in the day. Your moon sign versus your sun sign. Who you are on the inside versus what you show on the outside. The more that you embrace your uniqueness, and the more that you feel like you just start to feel more comfortable in your skin, I think there's a story of liberation here. That you want to quiet the outside noise. You want to break away from this other person's influence because you want to just hear your own voice again. You want to connect with your vision, reconnect with your understanding. Some of you are really connecting with a professor, a mentor. This Hermit is someone who can teach you something, show you the way. The Lovers is just that, like that curiosity, that understanding, we work well together. Like I really do see it a lot in a business sense as well as love. So I want to emphasize that. It could just mean that you've got like a really good partnership somewhere with someone who can teach you. Let's keep pulling cards. I know there's a few stories, but there are multiple people watching, so I want to make sure that I cover whatever I see. Somebody's in hiding. I think that's the Judgment card. It is not the Judgment card. It is the Four of Pentacles. Ooh. Somebody does not want to talk. Someone's holding on to something here. They don't want to share. They don't want to give. Someone's being really selfish here. Something's really one-sided. I want to act independently. And it makes me wonder, like, what is this person... Why does this person feel they have to resort to these measures? Some of you might just be feeling like once you reach that place of peace where you feel comfortable with yourself, you kind of act more alone, and you get comfortable with that, that might be where you prefer to be. So maybe isolation is a little bit of a problem if that's the case. A little too comfortable, but I should probably get out and see people. Yeah, someone is, they do not want to share. They feel threatened. This is a person who feels threatened. They're backed into this corner because they're threatened. They don't trust. They have trust issues. They don't want to share. They don't want to open up. They're in self-protection mode. This person might be really hurting inside because maybe they've lost someone recently. They're adjusting to life on their own. This could be a widower. I feel widow energy very strongly. But the Four of Pentacles does remind us to protect our resources. Save your money. Lock something away. Lock your door. Keep your, I don't know, maybe you're meant to keep your resources to yourself right now. You want to live a little more frugally. Saving your money. Okay, King of Swords. So there will be a confrontation. Now we've got the confrontation and the Queen of Pentacles. As you go into Virgo season, I think the third week, something significant is highlighted, and a conversation will take place. There is some kind of confrontation. We've got the King of Swords, we've got the law here, we've got the lawyer, we've got the professional. Some of you could be quite concerned about your health. And I see you going to a naturopath, maybe a more traditional practitioner, somebody who can look at the whole picture. Some of you, it's just standard medical care, but it is something about the passing of time as well, getting older. And King of Swords, really having to talk about it. Let's talk about this. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of messages at once, and I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning, so let's just talk through it one by one. Yeah, so there could be medicine. Someone is not sharing their symptoms, or maybe they've been to the doctor and they're not really sharing what they've learned about themselves right now. It may come out later this month. You may need to have a conversation with somebody. Like, what do you need to talk about? What do you need to communicate? And how can you do that with authority? It may need to be done in pieces. I don't think this person gives it all at once. You're going to get this in pieces. Let's talk it through. Let's work through this. There's really an emphasis on pacing. But there is a really nice caring energy here. Queen of Pentacles wants to care for you, wants to hold you. For a lot of you, you are the Queen of Pentacles. And if you've got her in your life, you're very lucky. She will keep you safe. This is somebody that they send in. It's kind of like good cop, bad cop. They send her in to be kind and give you a meal and some water and just, open you up a little bit. And then the King of Swords is more of the direct, like, interrogation style. I'm so sorry about this. I don't know what's happening. It looked cute earlier in the mirror, but any other messages for Taurus for the month ahead? Okay, you've got the Three of Swords. Man, Taurus, it feels like a bit of a challenging month. Feeling exposed, disappointed, vulnerable. See how this wounded heart is out in the rain. I was telling someone this the other day. I kind of get this feeling that, like, the skin is the armor. You're out in the weather, just the weather's coming at you, the wind, the rain, the elements. And at first you're soft and you're vulnerable, but then eventually you kind of toughen up a little bit. You get a bit of a harder skin, a bit of a tougher skin. I feel strongly that, like, this is a profoundly archetypal month for you, or maybe a child or somebody that you're watching grow, a student of yours. You're watching them go through their first heartbreak, their first detention, their, like, just a bit of trouble, right? And they're growing, they're getting older, and this experience is an integral part of that getting older. It will give them wisdom, but they don't know it yet. And that's the frustrating part, because you want to give them advice, you want to help them. And there's nothing you can really say, because they're going to just have to figure it out on their own. Chances are when you give someone advice, they don't take it anyway. They just continue to fuck around and find out. 2 more cards for Taurus, please, for the month of August. Got the Knight of Wands and Taurus. The Seven of Pentacles. Okay. So Three of Swords, Knight of Wands, and the Seven of Pentacles. Don't go too impulsively or make a decision too quickly. You might be so eager to get rid of this Three of Swords feeling or experience that you kind of impulsively jump into something, or you take action, or you spend a bunch of money on something, right? Seven of Pentacles is like, okay, I'm coming out of hiding a little bit, but I'm considering how to use my resources, but you've got to be smart about it. And sometimes the Knight, I think he's just so eager to escape this pain, this vulnerability, this raw emotion, that he wants to throw money at something or act quickly. Or what are you getting excitement from this month? Notice where you feel really hyper or like almost giddy about something. It's such a high frequency, it's dizzying. because I feel like in those peak emotional moments, that's when this comes out. So we want to get ourselves to a place of balance mentally. You know, when you first, you drink your espresso in the morning and it kicks in, and then you're like, all right, let's do some stuff, let's make things happen, but you're kind of like hyper for a little bit. I just think something requires a little more thought, a little more care to be dependable. And this takes me back to the beginning, because we talked about how that person who's usually a little more calculated, they seem to just actually be quite impulsive. Maybe they've done a good job of hiding this. I'm not sure. I don't know. I feel like a lot of stuff is going to be revealed this month, Taurus. I see a house move for some of you. For some of you, I do see a landlord, a new house, a renting, a buying. It's a new home. It's a place to settle in. King of Swords representing that paperwork. Queen of Pentacles settling into like harvest season. It's a nice time to start in a new home. And I think a lot of you are craving some kind of adventure, but to lean into that or to satisfy it, it brings a bit of heartache. Like, I'm really feeling like I'm done with this place. I need to move on. I want to experience more from the world. And it's that difficult decision to pursue, again, that inner voice where you're feeling led at this point. I think that your definition of home, your definition of paradise, how you relate to yourself, how you relate to others is really changing this month. And I'm seeing an investment. I am seeing a purchase. I am seeing like some money is moving this month. For those of you looking for love, there are multiple options. I think this month is the time to invest, take something a little bit further with someone, like invest, let's make this serious, let's make it real, let's take it to the next level. I think some of you are feeling passionate energy and you're finding a way to channel that. You're finding a project or meaningful work to throw yourself into. It's work that requires you to be active and on and in the action. You're not really behind the scenes, you're in the action. And then, yeah, the Seven of Pentacles. It's a lot of questions for a lot of you, just evaluation. You don't want to take too long to make the decision because your harvest is ready. And you've got a choice to make, and you want to consider what will best represent you. Some of you are just feeling like an old business partner or an old love partner, even a friendship. Again, just this feeling of like there's someone else there. They just, I don't know, you're not quite represented. It just doesn't flow anymore. And just, let's have the conversation about it. Let that sword in, just get it over with, right? I know it's gonna hurt, but let's just do this, because the sooner we acknowledge the pain or embrace it or let it on, the sooner we can move on, the sooner we can start to heal. Somebody's really wounded here, and as a result, they've learned to move secretly. They've learned to keep things to themselves. They feel vulnerable. They don't want to share because, I see this a lot in my work. As many of you know, I'm studying to become a psychotherapist, and a lot of assessment tools, for example, are not culturally competent or culturally responsive. A lot of the tools and the structural understanding of pathology is actually not applicable to multiple, different people, different groups of people. It only represents a significant group of people. So this is like someone here who doesn't see themselves represented, and so they naturally don't feel included, or they don't feel safe somewhere. How can I open up to my therapist, for example, if they don't even respect or take the time to validate where I've come from culturally, socially, emotionally, right? So it's just this feeling of needing to be represented in order to feel safe enough to have that conversation, to come out of hiding. And so if you're looking to get something out of someone, that might be the key, is to first make them feel safe. And also honoring where a person is not ready to talk about something. Just trust, okay, maybe in good time, but also you're an individual, I'm an individual. I cannot force you to talk about something. We all have a right to privacy. That can be challenging when you're a parent, when you're a teacher, right? Where's that line of like self versus other, you versus me? Like, where do I end, where do you begin? And when do I pull back? It makes me think about Pluto and Aquarius. Aquarius emphasizes the individual, the freedom of the individual. And Pluto is revolutionizing how we view power. And it's teaching us important lessons about boundaries of self versus other. Like, what do I have a right to or have access to, and what do I not? And is it fair? That could be challenging. I mean, you may decide to, like, there could be someone who's just secretive because it makes them feel safe. It makes them feel powerful. They might not be doing anything devious or like hurtful to you. It just might be that they prefer to keep it to themselves. And it's a respect for that other person to just let them be an individual. It's quite interesting. There's a lot going on this month. Taurus, I hope this reading has made sense. I hope it's been helpful. Like I said, I see a lot going on. I've been awake since 4 o'clock this morning. But if you want a personal reading with me, we can delve a little bit deeper into this or talk about something completely different. It's all up to you. If you want a personal reading, I'll leave my email address in the description box. And you can email me and just say, these are my questions, these are my focus points, or just show me what the universe wants me to know, and we'll do that too. I would love to read for you. So Taurus, until the next one, I will see you soon. Have a great month.